Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Gentlemen, let me congratulate each of the 5 of you on your nominations. I would note for the 3 nominees from Texas that, as Senator Cornyn made reference, you have been through a vigorous process, beginning with extensive review and interviews by the Federal Judicial Evaluation Committee, which is a bipartisan committee that Senator Cornyn and I have formed together, consisting of some of the most highly respected lawyers throughout the state of Texas in a variety of fields of practice, geographically diverse, and consciously bipartisan, to reflect that the bench is not supposed to be a partisan endeavor, that upholding the rule of law and taking the oath as an Article III judge requires a degree of competence, a degree of fidelity of law that should cut across party lines. And so I want to commend each of the 3 of you from Texas, because you would not be here had each of you not very much impressed the members of that committee, and had you not very much impressed both Senator Cornyn and myself. We've had the opportunity to visit with all 3 of you. You have impressive professional credentials, and a long career demonstrating the fidelity to law that we expect from our judges. It is obviously a unique and critically important responsibility that we entrust upholding the law to a relatively small number of men and women who take an oath to do so. What I'd like to ask each of the 5 of you is a couple of questions. The first of all, simply, how would you describe your judicial philosophy?
Thank you, Senator. I would describe my judicial philosophy as always being open-minded, fair, patient, always listening until the end, always making sure that I'm not guessing what's going to come next. I wait with an open mind, and I exercise my judgment fairly and even-handedly.
Thank you for the question, Senator. I would characterize my philosophy as a devotion to the law, a devotion to the role that we play in society, that limited role but important role, and in a variety of contexts, a great deal of power is given, and to those who are given power, much is expected. And I would apply the law to the facts presented, and I would do it impartially with a great deal of hard work.
Thank you, Senator, for your nice remarks about the Texas nominees. My judicial philosophy is one that I'm bound to adhere to the rule of law, that I'm going to impartially consider the facts of a case, apply the precedent to those facts, and make a decision without any regard to any personal views or feelings I might have. And that's what I've done as a magistrate judge.
Senator, at the risk of repeating, I will reiterate that I believe that the judicial philosophy appropriate for a district judge is faithful adherence to the rule of law and to the precedent of the Supreme Court and the Fifth Circuit, and I assure you that that is the philosophy that I will follow as a district judge if confirmed.
Thank you for the question, Senator. I think that the role of the judge is to fairly and impartially decide cases with the impartial application of the rule of law. As I said before, I think that the role of the judge is limited. It's important, but limited. Judges don't make law. They decide concrete disputes in front of them, one case at a time, with attention to the facts and the arguments of the parties, and by applying the law and precedent to those facts. And that is the type of judge I would hope to be.
Thank you, gentlemen. Let me ask one additional question, again, to all 5 of you, which is, how would you define judicial activism, and how would you characterize the responsibility of a judge to avoid engaging in judicial activism?
Thank you, Senator. I think that an activist judge would be a judge who does not understand his limited role, I think it's a judge who has an agenda, shall we say, a judge who's deciding a case based on what he or she wants the case to be about. The opposite of that is a judge who exercises humility, who understands this limited role, and who understands that he or she has to decide the issues that are necessary to resolve the dispute that's before that judge at that time.
Thank you, Senator. I would define activism, judicial activism, as a judge who's not only stepped out of his role, as my colleague mentioned, which I agree with fully, but someone who has turned the law to their own purpose rather than serving the purpose of the law. A very smart person can achieve any result if they're willing to give up their service to the law. And I think that's what activism is. Though you should serve the law, not vice versa.
Thank you, Senator. I don't disagree with anything that my fellow nominees said, but I would just add that the simplest way is a judge who makes decisions based on what they feel should be the result is a judicial activism. That's not what I've adhered to as a judge, and I will always follow the rule of law and am bound by that precedent.
Again, Senator, at the risk of simply reiterating and repeating, I do understand that term to mean a judge who injects his or her personal beliefs or political agenda into the decision-making process. I believe that that is not the role of a judge, and it is not the mode that I would employ in interpreting the law or in engaging in my other duties as a judge.
Thank you, Senator, for the question. I agree with what my fellow nominees have said. I think one way to avoid that result is by focusing on the narrowest issues in the case and deciding the case as narrowly as possible and not deciding things that don't need to be decided.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.